my plane, there is a person directing you. And he directed me, and I made an error. I think it was an error. Maybe it was his error. I ran into another plane. Don't ask what I set off, okay? And I didn't even damage the other plane. They automatically, they washed me out, which they never should have done, because I think I would have made a good pilot. Anyhow, from there, they sent me to Monroe, Louisiana. Again, there was like a reassembling, and they asked me, where do you want to go? You can't do the pilot anymore. You got to do either a navigator or a bombardier. So I said, I'll take the bombardier. What the heck? So from there, they sent me to West Texas, to a town, San Angelo, where we learned how to use the Norden bomb sight, which was very hot at the time. The Norden bomb sight is an incredible invention, because on the bomb run, which usually takes just a few minutes, hopefully it's upwind, the bomb sight flies the airplane. The plane is put on autopilot by the pilot, and the bomb sight flies the plane. Okay? Only one person used the bomb sight, the one leading the group. You had to follow orders. You had to, there was an area called the turning point to the bomb run, which usually took about 5 minutes or so, or 10 minutes, I don't remember, I never timed it, where I went down to the bomb bay and I armed the bombs. Because until that time, they wouldn't leave the bomb bay. And I opened, at that point, went back to my position, opened the bomb bay doors. I first had to wait for everybody else in front of me to open their doors. When I saw their doors open, I opened my doors. Then I set up the bomb sight so that when I saw that first bomb leaving the bomb bay of the plane in front of me, I had a salvo handle, which I pushed forward, released all the bombs. Never once used the bomb sight, okay, with all that training. However, just in case we lost the lead bombardier, I'm ready to take over, okay? That's what all this training was all about. Worthwhile? Absolutely. Could never do without that. Finally graduated there, was sent to Westover Field, where I met my crew, my guys, there they were. And we trained there. And then, when we were ready, they sent us to Mitchell Field, right here. The 4 commissioned officers, the pilot, co-pilot, bombardier, navigator, an engineer, a radio operator, a tail gunner, a belly gunner, a Martin gunner, and a waist gunner. When we were ready to go overseas, we flew up to Bangor, Maine, which at that time was a port of embarkation. And we flew to Labrador. This is the middle of winter. I think it was very cold. And I remember the underground passages to get from one building to another, and the maintenance crew were all Eskimos. I was very taken by this native Eskimos. Anyhow, then something happened, I don't remember, but we had to fly to Newfoundland, a little south of Labrador. From there, we finally got our orders. We flew to the Azores. From the Azores, we flew to French Morocco. At that time, it was called French Morocco. We spent a couple of days there. From there, we flew to Tunisia. And from there, we flew into Cerignola, the base in Italy. I found my name on the board one night. Of course, I didn't sleep that night. And I went on a mission. And then a few days later, supposed to go on another mission, I was omitted from the group. I got orders to join another group. I wanted to stay with my crew. It's funny how you're living with people. You are so close, you just have no idea. You will never experience this, but when you're 19 or 20 and you're with guys 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you fly with them, and your life depends upon everybody, okay? You get very close to these people, especially the four commissioned officers. It's like you're closer than brothers. That was my disappointment. I didn't give a rap about anything else. I really didn't. And I was so, this is history. I never found out why these things happen. I then got orders to go back to the States because they wanted me to train bombardiers in B-29s. I had never seen a B-29. I didn't even know how it works. And I said to myself, why do they pick me? I have very limited experience to be an instructor in B-29s when I have never seen one. And I think my commanding officer said to me, they're all the same. Okay, fine. So I was waiting to be assigned to my first flight, and it never came. And so I went to the CO, and I said, I'm ready to go. Give me the students. At least let me fly and get used to being in a 29. First of all, it was great because we used to fly in combat missions at 26,000 feet. And you have no idea how much clothing. I have a picture of what I had to wear. The first thing, of course, you had long johns you put on, all right? I then had an extra shirt. I then put on an electric suit, had wires all over it, top and bottom, right? And on top of that, you had flying fatigues. On top of that, you had a leather pants and a leather jacket. And then all kinds of head coverings. And part of the problem I had is when I had to go, I had to maintain one of the guns before we got into the turning point, where I had to go from the Martin turret, which was above the pilot. The Martin turret had twin 50 caliber machine guns. It's heavy duty with those machine guns. And I had to get from that position to the front, to the bomb site, okay? In order to do that, there was a very narrow passageway. I had to carry a 5 or 10 pound bottle of oxygen. I had to detach myself from the central station, which supplied everybody. And God help if the flak cut that system, because at 20,000 feet, you're going to die from lack of oxygen. And I took this little tank, I cuddled it somehow, and I got through that passage. And then, of course, trying to wedge your way through the passage, you use more oxygen because you get a little excited, okay? And you finally hook up to the main. This was one of my greatest fear. Plus the flak suits that you wear, because if any flak, it was a steel bars you put across the top of everything. And I used to put one underneath my crotch too, just in case. Didn't want to lose that, okay? However, where was I? Oh, yes, in the 29s. And the CEO said, look, we're having an adjustment here. So I said, I can't just sit around and do something. He said, well, there's an opening here. You can be the assistant to the person who supervises the officers club. So I got into the restaurant business. Okay. Then I was there for a while. Then, of course, they dropped the atom bomb. And I went to Fort Dix, and I got mustered out. What we need is to be very well aware of the world around us and what is happening and what threatens us and what we can do about it in a very meaningful way. And I think that we need an awakening right now, okay? I say that because I'm very disturbed by our brave American soldiers being killed left and right every day. And my feeling is this should not happen.